Hello and welcome to the Winning Culture Blueprint. I'm Brandon Denmon with Peak Executive Solutions, and I'm just freshly coming off of a vacation with my wife, Mary Elizabeth. We spent about 7 days in the Caribbean, or the Caribbean, depending on how you say it. And we were in Cancun, Mexico. Saw some really cool things. If you haven't been down there, despite all the things that are going on in the news, we had a great time, enjoyed ourselves, spent some time just relaxing in the pool, having good food, really enjoying, actually the turtles are nesting right now, the sea turtles are. If you don't know anything about sea turtles, they come back to the place where they were born. Which is super interesting. It's something I hadn't seen before. We've actually released turtles there, the babies. I think that was like in August or September, which makes sense because I think the gestation period on those things is about 45 or so days. Any rate, we spent a good time just building margin into our relationship, into our lives, talking about what we're going to do for the second half of the year to really finish strong in both of our businesses. For those of you guys who don't know, my wife has just finished writing a book called The Princess in the RV. It comes out in September, so she's been spending a lot of time on that, as well as her main business where she does interior design and contracting work, mostly residential, but a little bit of commercial as well. At any rate, I put out a post on LinkedIn earlier this week about the sea turtles, which just really talked about, returning to your roots and coming back home, recentering yourself, which is kind of what building margin is about. And so I just wanted to make a video here. It'll be a short for the podcast, but I think it's important, this time of year to reset. To just sit down with your team and go through what did you plan on doing for the year, going through your second quarter goals, making sure you're either on track or you're not, resetting, and then also, getting that commitment to finish strong, getting that commitment around what we said we're going to do, or if we've got to pivot, if we've got to change gears a little bit to make sure, or even if some of the climate has changed in your business, whether it's because of tariffs or something like that, have those conversations. If somebody's not performing, make sure you're having those conversations. Somebody didn't hit their goals, and it caused the rest of the team to falter. Have that conversation, and that really brings me to the crux of this episode, which is the second dysfunction of a team, according to Patrick Lencioni, which is the fear of conflict. You may remember from episode 3 and a little bit in episode 2, we talked about creating trust in your leadership team, creating trust so that is really the foundation that allows all of these other things to happen. And if you've got good trust, it's so much easier to feel confident, to have those hard conversations when perhaps things aren't going exactly like you want them to. What does fear of conflict look like? For you and your business, it might look like people avoid difficult conversations. It does lead to unresolved tensions, and the signs of this are meetings are boring. Never heard that one before. Disagreements are sort of passive aggressive, and team members might avoid speaking up, or the loudest voice in the room gets all of the conversation, and people avoid speaking up either against them or in not retribution so much, but just against what they're saying. So there's a couple of ways to try and start this. If you do have that in your organization and people aren't speaking up, you're sitting in a room full of quiet people because perhaps the loudest voice in the room is yours. And if you're the CEO, that could be you. You got to be focused on what everybody has to say, because we're going to talk a little bit about this later in another episode. But people need to be seen and heard in order to buy in order to commit to the mission. And if you don't have that ability to speak up and have those hard conversations, talk about the why. If we've missed a goal, if something's not quite going to plan, or if the climate has changed a little bit, and you need people to take on either a different role or to take on a different task or project, to have those conversations that lead to the whole team winning, the team one winning, and thus the remainder of the operation or company winning. And I think, it's super important to reset right now, to realign, to recommit, continue to build that trust, meet and talk about these things weekly. Meetings shouldn't be boring, right? And if you have fear of conflict, they probably are, right? People don't speak up. So it's really just nobody has anything to say. The antithesis of that is people have those conversations. It's a little more like not so much calling people out, but just, asking for answers about how can I help you reach your goals. So at Peak Executive Solutions, one of the workshops we do is on the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and we have an assessment that we help teams through. It helps teams figure out where they're doing really well in this cohesive team environment, and where perhaps there's an opportunity to re-up, to recommit, to have some hard conversations, to hold each other accountable, which is really all these things together is what gets results for your business. So if you need help with that, or if you know somebody that needs to hear this, please share this episode with them. And as I started out earlier saying, this is a good time to reset. Maybe you need a little break. Maybe you're a little bit burnt out. Maybe somebody on your team does. Make sure you're recognizing when your team needs help. And if you would like help with that, I'm here. Reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on my website at peakexecutivesolutions.com, which is actually under reconstruction right now. Or you can just comment on my YouTube channel. Love to have some interaction to talk about how is it that we have this conflict or conversation that really moves the needle, gets people aligned, makes sure they feel seen and heard. And I appreciate you listening. Feel free to reach out and talk to you next time.